Now we're recording. Welcome to episode 164 of Off Topic. I'm here again with Brad and Bradley.
Hey,
We had a hard time choosing seats tonight.
we did.
If you listened to the last episode Brad was on, he was in my seat because I was remote, and now we're both in Peabody.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's kind of weird.
Right?
I feel like I was just here.
It kind of were just here.
It's like, what, 3 episodes ago?
Yeah,
Yeah.
3 or 4 episodes ago.
Yeah, probably about that.
Cool.
I feel like I was here too. Maybe last episode?
Yeah, you were.
Yeah, cool. Just checking.
I can't remember if you did. Oh, see,
We did one here when I first came to town.
it's throwing me off because, like, I did one with you in Phoenix, then we came back here and did one.
We did one in Phoenix?
Yeah, we did one with Brian in Phoenix.
Oh, shit. We did. In his house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I listened to that one. It was
I don't know what's going on in my life anymore.
You're traveling too much, apparently.
Send help.
good. I know the feeling.
Yeah, you know the feeling a lot. Because I'm sure none of our listeners are unfamiliar with who you are, but you are the van driver for Radwood.
Yes.
You're more
Among-
than the van driver. That sounded like
Among many.
Yeah, I really cut down your role right there by calling you the van driver.
You know what?
He's the roadie.
I'm updating my resume.
Van
Roadie for Radwood.
Yeah, all
That's it. That's all I got.
All right, I got it. He's a co-creator / conspirator / van driver / merch wrangler.
Yes.
And
I am the
Jalopnik rider.
Yeah, we'll get that.
I'm the chief marketing executive.
That means
for
you
Radwood.
moderate the Facebook page.
Yes, pretty much. Yes. No, I do more than that, but primarily merchandise and like public-facing relations for Radwood. So handle a lot of the emails and Facebook, Twitter,
Which, whenever
Instagram.
I'm at a Radwood event, causes a funny issue because if I'm behind like the
Yes.
merch booth helping, because Naomi likes to work the merch booth, so we do that a lot, and I help her out quite a bit back there sometimes. People come to me like, "Are you Brad?" And I'm like, "Yep." And they're talking to me, and I'll be like, "Wait, I'm not the Brad you're looking for."
Yeah.
And they go, "What?" And I'm like, "There's two portly gentlemen named Brad with beards, and you've chosen poorly.
Yes,
You have to find the red beard."
and I will say that Naomi is awesome. Couldn't do what we do without her. So
Excellent. I mean, yeah, excellent. You
we
can because you
could,
do,
right.
But when
But
she's
when
there,
she's there,
it's awesome.
It's an incredible
Yes.
help.
Not to discredit her at all. She's amazing at everything she does,
Plus-
including being behind the merch booth at.
Plus, she's traditionally been there when my wife hasn't been there, which means she fills the role of my wife
Which
for
also-
a day.
I don't know if I authorized this loan. Which also makes her upset because she wants to hang out with your wife
Yes,
again.
yeah. Well, you guys just need to visit. We're like 4 hours away now.
4 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we meet in the middle. Anyway, so yes, Bradley Brownell is here of Jalopnik fame and Radwood.
In Vegas,
Yeah.
somebody confused me for art.
I could see
Yeah.
The
that
complexion
a little
and the
bit.
beard,
Yeah.
the 5 o'clock shadow.
Yeah.
I could see that. Plus, you're standing somewhere official.
Yeah.
People just assume.
Mhm.
It's a big assumption.
Mm-hmm.
But the Brad and Brad thing is, it's
Yeah.
people aren't looking for me, so you haven't got it. But everybody's looking for you,
Mhm.
and I get it all the time.
Mhm.
And I falsely assume that people care who I am. That's the problem.
So
Are you
have,
Brad? Yes, I am the Brad.
So you
You're
have
none other.
you have the ego that I don't have.
Sure.
Yeah. There
Sure.
you go.
For anybody who knows me, I definitely do not have
No.
the ego that you don't have.
No.
But in this case, yeah, I am the only Brad that counts.
All right.
So Radwood Boston
Radwood.
just happened.
Yeah.
We haven't had a Boston show until
It was yesterday.
just now. Yeah.
We're going to talk about the weather.
Unfortunately, it was very important
moist.
in the story.
We should have just postponed it to Sunday and told the Volkswagen guys to piss
Get
off.
bent. Yeah. Well, I'm sure the Volkswagen guys who have had a show at the Lars Anderson Museum for the past 20 some odd years
Yeah.
would have just folded over and
Yeah.
said,
Yeah.
"Sure, we'll come back.
Obviously.
We'll come back Monday."
Yeah.
Not
clearly.
a problem at all.
Um,
Fun fact about that Volkswagen show: there's a contingent of so it's Volkswagen Transporter Fest they call it,
Yeah.
but it's all air cooled, water cooled, everything.
Right,
It's a celebration of all things Volkswagen. There's a huge contingent of those Volkswagen bus and Beetle people that actually do a whole weekend event. They go down to Winter Island here in the city of Salem, and they do a camp out, and then they caravan like 50 buses strong from Salem to.
I was wondering how they drew that many friggin' buses. 'Cause, I
They're
mean,
from all over the country too.
it was incredible. So Yeah, so we did Radwood yesterday, but who cares about that? I was at the
We
Volkswagen
can go
show
back to
this
that.
morning.
Let's talk about the Volkswagen show.
Yeah.
It's fresh in your memory from today.
It was awesome. It was really cool.
Yeah.
Like the main lawn where our royalty cars was the main show, and then everything down the hill was swap meet. So I looked around at some cool stuff to buy. I didn't buy anything. I actually bought some stuff from the museum. I bought a couple of books that I didn't really need, but whatever. I never have time to read anymore.
Selling all my belongings, buying books.
Buying books. Well, books I
Books
can
are okay.
bring with me
Yeah, no, I get
on my journeys.
I support books.
But there was a ton of stuff there that easily could have been at Radwood yesterday.
Right. Yeah, a lot of the
Or
a lot
Saturday.
of the water cooled stuff for sure.
That was yesterday.
Yeah.
There was a golf country. It was totally rad.
The blue one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
he
think
was
they're all
supposed to go to
blue.
Radwood. No, there's a couple other colors.
Oh, okay.
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
A blue one on steel wheels though.
I think so.
Yeah.
New Hampshire tags.
Yeah, is the one. He was supposed to go to Radwood, and I'm sure he didn't come because of the rain. But
Yeah.
I know through interactions with somebody else, I saw him commenting, and he was like, "I'm going to be there," and then it rained, and obviously come. So but
There
yeah,
was
there's amazing stuff there.
there were two gorgeous Scirocco's. Like both of them were spectacular. One of them had like really light graphics. It looked like they had a barber cut a fade into the side of it. It was just like, I'll show you photos later.
Yeah, that sounds awful.
It was awesome. It was really awesome. Anyway, and then obviously the Vanagons and double cabs and all kinds of really cool stuff there.
Yeah, so
That easily could have been
one of the
Radwood.
guys that runs it or is in charge of like wrangling everything together. His name is Stan, and he's been in the Volkswagen bus world for I don't know since well before they stopped making them. I know that for sure. But there was probably he usually brings he's a double cab synchro Vanagon, which is this like absurdly awesome.
Yeah.
But he's instrumental in getting all those guys together. And then, like I said, they have that huge camp out, and people come from all over the country. Like there's cars there from like Utah and Canada and Florida, and they all caravan for this one like event in the Northeast, which is kind of under the radar in like the media world. Didn't hear much about it, but I know it's hugely popular with VW enthusiasts.
Yeah, and I'm glad you got to see the Lars Anderson on a sunny day. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's like really, really pretty.
It was beautiful. And then two cars that I had never seen before, but I've always been a big fan of. One was an SP2, the Brazilian built.
SP2.
Oh, I love those things. I've wanted one for ages. I've never even seen one in person, and it was awesome to see.
That particular car was at the Mistlewood Concord Elegance, and I think it won an award there as well.
And then the other one was a Myers Manx SR, which was their sports racer version.
Was that built at the same time, or was that a later car?
No, it was the same. It was late 60s, early 70s.
I don't think I know that one.
It's much more wedgy, and the doors open like butterflies. It has doors.
Does it have a roof?
Yeah. It's really cool. I have a photograph here, but
Yeah, that doesn't really go well over the
no,
camera,
obviously.
Oh, it's really, really 70s looking.
Right?
It's like super 70s.
Oh, kind of looks like a Bond bug.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But with four wheels.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty wild.
Yeah, I'm into it. I've never seen one of those either.
They're super cool. It was built for like autocrossing and road racing and stuff.
That's
but
cool.
It's still Volkswagen based. So.
I mean, yeah, I don't know how it's built any different than the other one. It's more aerodynamic.
Yeah,
supposedly.
I guess. I don't know. It has a roof.
It's 70s.
They were
Yeah.
like
It is the 70s.
they were like Brickland's real successful. Let's mimic what he's doing.
But anyway, yeah. The Volkswagen show was cool.
Yeah, all the events that they have there, because they have a whole calendar of events there.
Uh-huh.
And every weekend there's a different themed car show. So everything from Japanese Car Day to Extinct Car Day to American Car Day,
Swedish Car Day.
Swedish Car Day.
I've
Which
heard that
Cadillac Day.
is
Italian Day is like the
Italian
biggest
Day is
one.
called Tutto Italiano.
And they actually have to do two.
Yeah, because they do Tutto and Tutto Light because there's so many people that want to go.
A lot of Italian cars around here, apparently.
Okay.
It's surprising actually. So I live in Phoenix now, obviously, and in Phoenix I see a Ferrari, a Lamborghini every day.
New ones.
Newer ones, yeah, and there's some earlier stuff too. I see 348s and 308s and stuff too. But living here, you could go for months and months and months without even seeing one anywhere. So it's surprising to me how many Italian cars there really are here when it comes down to it.
But it's not even that. Like, really nice alphas will show up.
Like obscure
Like-
80s alphas just come out of the woodwork.
But even like
Yeah.
people will bring like pre-war alphas
yeah.
and like stuff like that.
So one of the great things about having a venue like that, I grew up in Hickory Corners, Michigan, which is right down the street from the Gilmore Car Museum, and
That's definitely on our list.
you need to go. It's incredible. That place rules. But that's kind of what formed my car enthusiasm, was being that close to that like haven of car
Right.
awesomeness. And I remember going to British Car Day and seeing cars that I did not even know existed when
Yeah.
I was
There's
17
so many
years
like
old.
weird little coach-built
It
British
was,
cars.
it was
Yeah.
so cool. And yeah, I became addicted to Lotus Elises that day.
It's easy
I
to
got
do.
to sit in one, and I was like, "This is awesome!" But of course, I was like a foot shorter then, so now it's kind of not in the cards unless I get one with a removable roof, like an Elise instead of an Exige.
Either way,
I wouldn't fit in an Exige. I'm too tall.
they're too new anyway.
I didn't know about Lars Anderson until like 10 or 15 years ago when we started going to Japanese Car Day.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't even know it existed, but it was also like kind of pre-internet.
So they had a revolution like 15, 20 years
Yeah.
ago where it got a new management.
Yeah,
The museum itself is really small.
very
There's
small.
like what 25 cars in
So-
there.
And they rotate through
Yeah,
stuff every year,
Okay.
year and a half.
So the upstairs display is always rotating.
And upstairs
And
there was very few things.
The cars are on loan.
Okay.
It's end of the season right now, so a lot of
Okay.
the cars are probably out of there. Normally, there's cars in the middle when you first walk in.
Oh,
and
okay.
There's normally a few more cars in there, but like what's in there? I mean, there was like what's that? Is that Delahaye
Yeah.
or a?
Yeah.
I mean,
there was a
there's-
Bugatti. There was a Delahaye.
I mean, there's
there
some
was,
serious
yeah.
stuff in there.
Yeah.
So what that museum is that was the carriage house for the Lars Anderson family.
I've heard that.
So it wasn't intended to be anything but storage for carriages when it was built. So it's not huge. It has a couple
Right.
horse stables in the
They
back
were-
that you go exploring.
Yeah, and they were some of the first people in Boston to own cars. Was the Lars Anderson family.
And they had lots of money, so they bought a new one every year and held on to the old one, which is
Right.
what the downstairs is. I don't know if you poked around there much at all. Those are all Lars Anderson family owned cars. It's
And they
new.
have like vintage bicycles from like the turn of the century too.
Right. Right.
So it's a really neat place. It's a really neat resource. And like I said, upstairs is hit or miss each year depending on what the exhibit is. You know, there last year it was Hot Rods of New England, and there was some really cool traditional stuff built from
Yeah.
like in the 50s in New England.
That would be
and
cool.
it was neat to see the local history of hot rods versus what you see in all the hot rod magazine from Southern
Southern
California.
California,
Yeah.
sure.
So that was really neat to see.
But credit where credit's due, they've really embraced social media
Mhm.
and
Oh, that's
have like gotten really cool exhibits over the last couple of years, and they've started doing they've added their cars and coffees to their lawn events, and they really push stuff, and they've really been like a bastion of car culture in this area. So it's very, very cool.
Yep. So it's a small museum.
Yeah.
I still recommend you see it if you're in the area. But if you're in the area during one of their lawn events, it's even a better time to
Yeah.
stop in.
And their cars and coffees are like always packed,
Like
especially the
ridiculously
weather.
packed. And pro tip: cars and coffee. There's no fee to enter, and you
Yeah.
can go in the museum for free.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not supporting the museum that way, but still, it's
Well, I bought a couple of books from him, like I
Yep.
said. So I tried to give him a little bit of money. Also, like we held a show there, so.
yeah, they get a lot of money from you. Yeah, they didn't need your book money. They made a lot of money the day before.
So speaking of holding a car show there,
Yes,
let's talk about Radwood.
Radwood Boston,
Yeah.
So
Rainwood Boston.
you guys have been to like
Ludwood.
every Radwood, basically.
Not every, but we've been
Basically.
to. I've been to
Every
like, I think I've been
version?
to 7 or 8 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I've only been to like 4.
Yeah, I've been to a lot.
We've had, I think this was our 17th or 18th show
That's a lot.
in 2.5 years.
Maybe been to 6. Maybe
Yeah,
6.
that's quite a few.
But so you guys have been to a lot. My
Yeah.
point is, how did it meet your expectations?
So I think I was a little overwhelmed.
Okay.
And this is just coming from me because it was, even though I don't live here anymore, I still would consider this my home show. So I know a lot of people in the area.
Uh-huh.
So all day long, I was just talking to people that I know.
That you knew.
So it's
yeah.
almost like I wasn't at Radwood.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's
It was-
how LA is for me.
Right.
Because I
Right.
know all of the people that
Yeah.
go to the show, and it's like I end up going from one conversation to another.
That's exactly how it was yesterday. It was just pulled from person to person to person, and I don't didn't get much time to even go look at cars
Uh-huh.
between doing that and helping with merch and trying to help out where I could, answering people's questions. I had a few older gentlemen come up to me when I was behind the merch booth and say, "So, what is Radwood?" Because there's a lot of people that go to that museum every weekend just to go.
Regardless of what.
They'll
yeah,
drive by, see what's
yeah.
going on, they'll pull in. And there were a
Uh-huh.
couple of those guys that came in, they're like, "I don't understand what's happening here. What's happening here?"
Okay.
So I, explained to them that it's something that they won't understand because they're too old and to go home. No, I explained to them exactly what it was, and they were all like, "That's pretty cool." I mean, and they were all surprised that they were anybody there because it's raining, because Lars Anderson cancels events when it rains out because they don't want people driving on their lawn in the rain.
Well, we did.
And we found out why they don't want people driving on their lawn. But Rad was obviously a rain or shine event. So I had a couple of those people come up and ask those questions, and I was working merch and talking to people. And, I mean, the vibe, it seemed every bit as cool as Philly was last year.
Yeah.
It seemed every bit as cool as any of them I've been to. Didn't quite have the LA vibe because it's not LA,
Sure.
I think
but that's LA.
It was an interesting venue, in that, like, it was a gorgeous layout, and but we've never had a show at a castle looking thing
right.
before.
Yeah, it'd be great
So,
pictures.
It did.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
How about yourself, Andrew? What do
I
you
think if it had not rained, more people would have been into the outfits.
Absolutely.
Because that's what was missing for me.
Totally.
But everybody had to wear raincoats and it was cold. So if you didn't have cold weather period gear, which only a few people had,
Right.
then it wouldn't.
And I knew that when I was flying in,
Yeah.
because we have an award for this time it was Radis Halloween costume.
Yeah.
But usually it's Radis dressed, because it's October, and so we try to lean into the. But I knew that flying in it was going to be less than usual,
Yeah.
because if the weather's crap, then you're going to wear a jacket.
Also, we're real conservative here in Boston, and a lot of people just don't want to do that.
Sure,
Yeah.
yeah.
LA gets more of that like Instagram crowd that
Uh-huh.
will come to the show just to get like cool Instagram photos and like
Sure.
dress up and
Yeah.
like do cosplay.
Yeah.
So the last LA show, when Naomi and I were walking to Starbucks to get coffee, we were playing the game, walking down the street, and people are walking towards us. It was like, Radwood or just LA?
Yeah.
Like, 'cause
Yeah.
that's how
Usually
people just
just
are,
LA.
just in LA.
Yeah,
Like,
just LA.
people dress a little more ridiculous on a daily basis.
Well, you picked me up from
So-
the airport, and you were like, "Oh, you just travel in Radwood gear now," and I was like,
Yeah.
"That's just what I wear."
Yeah. I've embraced the hipster life. And actually, we had a friend of ours who was actually the first guest on our show who was there, who's got way into it.
Yeah.
He was full Pit Viper glasses. And
Yeah.
he had the
Pit
can
Viper
belt.
can belt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was
Of LaCroix.
talking to him about it, and he was like, honestly, he's like, I pretty much just started dressing this way every day.
Yeah.
He's like, at first my wife was like, what are you doing? But now she's like, all right, this is cool.
Did you see
So-
the
Neon's back.
Yeah,
Did you see the guy with the lowrider in the?
I did.
He was like full acid wash jeans.
Yeah,
and
Reebok
that.
pumps.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we had a photo of him on our Instagram, and somebody commented, "That looks like that guy's everyday fit."
Yeah.
And he was like, "Dude, if I had known there was a costume contest, I would have wore one."
Well, I thought it was funny, too, because somebody else commented on that same thread, and they were like, wow, that guy killed it. Like, he made a real legit-looking 80s outfit without going over the top with the neons
Yeah,
and all that
right,
stuff.
right.
And it was like, yeah, that's what I remember was guys looking like that.
Yeah.
Like, I had a pair of Reebok pumps.
Yeah,
Like,
totally.
I absolutely did.
Totally.
I didn't have them until they were out of style and they were in the clearance rack at Marshall's, but I had them.
So, sort of quick rundown on who won. There was the Pajero Evo towing the Evo 3? Evo 2.
It's an Evo 2 with Evo 3 side skirts, so
Okay.
it confuses a lot of people, but
Okay.
it's an Evo 2.
That won Radisson Show.
Yep, he's also a former guest of the show,
Mm.
friend of the show, Alex.
The lowrider Buick Regal won Radis Domestic.
Yep. Which, is that the first lowrider to be
It is.
at a Radwood?
It is.
Like full hydraulic car?
We've had mini trucks
Yep.
on hydraulics.
Okay.
But not to that
Like
extent.
a full traditional lowrider style.
Yeah. We had at Vegas. We had the truck with the articulating bed, which
The
was
dancing bed, yep.
pretty cool. But
It's just funny you had to come to Boston to get a lowrider.
exactly,
There's a small contingent of like real serious lowriders here,
Mm.
but they're few and far between in comparison to other things.
But when he was leaving the show, he was bouncing.
Yeah,
And
he
I was
bounced
like,
on the way in too.
Hell yeah, that's cool. And then the raddest import was a gorgeous Saab SPG
Basically, the poster car.
poster car for the event.
Well, again, I don't know who chose that picture. Probably Lane, because
Lane
he does
did,
all the
yep.
art.
Yep.
But he definitely nailed Boston 80s car,
Yeah.
like, to a T.
Could have been that or a Volvo 240.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
even an 850,
Yeah.
90s car. But
Well, you figure, college professor. There's a lot of colleges around here.
well, yeah,
yeah.
It's like the yuppie car of the
Yeah.
80s.
Swedish
Yeah.
cars were a big deal here.
Yeah, and
Yep.
we actually, if you go to Swedish Car Day here at Lars Anderson,
Full.
there's more Saab 900s than he thought they ever sold.
Nice.
So it's a cool show.
Let's see, what else was there? Raddest Wheels went to your dad.
It did, yeah, which is not any kind of nepotism. That was just
No, they were just. It
They
was
held their
Rad
own.
Wheels.
yeah. So he had a set of Enki 98s. I think they're called
They're
98s.
mesh Yankees.
They look like BBS RSs.
Yeah.
They're the same style as an RS, but they were on his 80 Corvette that he bought them in like 1987.
He said he
Yeah.
put them on in 88.
88.
I was talking to him.
Okay.
And he painted the car in 88.
And it helps that it was on a clean car that had good pinstripes and had good, good body work.
The car was the full 80s.
The car was
Yeah.
built in period.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And he kept it nice all these years.
Right.
So I'll tell you a
right,
secret
right.
about that car. Not a secret, but like he bought that car. It was the two-tone blue, the
Okay.
light blue up top, dark blue on the bottom.
Uh-huh.
He bought the car. It was all the light blue up top.
I've never seen a two-tone C3 like that.
I
They
don't-
made two tones, like the pace cars are two
Yeah,
tones.
the pace car, but I've never
Sure.
seen a
Anniversary
two-tone
car.
blue.
So the upper color was the factory color of the car,
Right.
and he thought it was boring. And he also, being a body man, hated the fact that it had the Corvette ripples.
Mhm.
So he literally stripped that car down to bare fiberglass and blocked it for like 2 weeks to flatten it out,
Yeah.
and resprayed it the entire upper color, and stepped back and went, "This needs something else." And he put the dark blue on the bottom with the pinstripe in between, which if you open the doors, that dark blue
Yeah, it
carries,
carries all the way
into the
through.
jams.
Right.
It's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah.
Not to toot my
And
father's
the
horn here, but
pinstriping carries in, doesn't
yeah,
it?
the whole thing
Yeah,
carries in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he bought the car with like 6,000 miles on it,
Yeah.
and he's had it ever since.
Yeah.
And it has like 40,000 miles on it now, I think.
Nice. It still looks, showroom clean. So
Yeah, no, it's a really nice
pretty,
car.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's not my favorite car of his, but I do love it.
It's a
because
car
been around for
that's
so long.
gone from uncool, and it's
To-
come back up to.
Yeah.
It was like cool, and then it was
And
like
then
this is
ironic
lame.
cool,
and now it's cool again.
Really
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and
But
part
the
of
wheels
it,
have been on it since almost day one, so it
Exactly.
makes it even radder.
So the story's part of it, in that they're OG from the period and all
Mhm.
that. The other part of it is they're wheels that you don't normally see on that car.
No, that was probably a bold choice at the time.
It must have been.
Yeah.
It had to have been. So, especially because C3s are traditionally a 70s car. So, like,
Yep.
to make it 80s,
Yeah, it was
it
late
needed
C3.
those wheels.
Yep.
So,
So
totally rad, and that was cool.
He was actually an Enki dealer at the time.
Ah.
So, actually, another weird fun fact: the wheels on my '84 Snarian
Mhm.
were bought by the guy who I bought my car from my dad before I knew any of this story.
Nice.
I happened to buy the car, and he gave me a stack of receipts, and there was a
And-
receipt for the wheels and tires. That was from my dad back in the day.
Nice.
So,
And then I think your dad said that car has like the Gymkhana suspension on it too.
yeah, FE something, or was it what option code it was?
Oh,
Yeah.
So
nice.
the car already sits an inch and a half lower than a standard C3.
Oh, that.
So it already
helps.
looks more
Yeah,
aggressive,
Yeah.
and it has
Yeah.
the ridiculously cool wheels on it.
Yeah.
With the monster truck tires. But
Nice.
that's just the era.
You need to talk
Now
about
it's
that
not-
car
it's
more.
cool.
It's really awesome.
Well, yeah, it's funny. We don't talk about my dad's cars hardly ever, or your dad's cars hardly ever, except for the Cadillac, which is your grandfather's car. But yeah, there's some cars we could do photo shoots of and
Yeah, we should.
make some content for Auto
Yeah.
On Topic.
Yeah.
'Cause
Not to like teach you guys how to do this, but
we have this content sitting in front of us, but these cars have been in our lives for our
Right,
whole life.
right.
So to us, they're just like they're there.
yeah,
They're there.
it's just
I
part
mean,
of
it's there.
part of life.
Yeah.
So that was cool. I really liked the show. I mean, despite the weather being nasty, we still had 300 cars ish, and probably once
good.
it started to dry out a little bit, we had 1,500 people maybe.
Okay. A little lower than we thought, but
Sure.
again, it was raining out.
Yeah, it
And
was.
spectators aren't going to come out in the rain.
No,
Yeah.
no.
I bet you would have
Um,
doubled that at least if it was.
At
dry out.
least, yeah. I think we would have had 400 cars, maybe
Mm-hmm.
3,000 people, yeah. Which would have been among our bigger shows.
Right.
Even as it was, like that matched, or maybe slightly less than Detroit.
Oh, good.
So
Because I know Detroit was like, you guys are so super stoked on Detroit.
yeah,
So.
yeah, it was definitely a success. It was definitely a success, and it's certainly enough that we'll be back next
Well, I
year.
do know one of the guys that was there went to the Detroit show and liked it so much he drove from Detroit to Boston.
Oh wow! Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, the blue R32 with the ski
Yeah,
rack on the
midnight
back.
blue.
Oh, cool.
So that car was one of the many R32s that were at.
Yeah, nice.
So he drove from Detroit to Boston for the show.
There was.
He's also from here originally, but
I didn't even get to like talk to him barely, but there's a guy that I think it was his fourth Radwood. Has the right-hand drive Volvo
Yep.
wagon.
yeah, he was in Atlanta.
Joe something. I
Yeah,
forget.
Yeah.
Atlanta, Philadelphia, Boston,
Detroit.
and Detroit. Okay,
So
that's
he-
4. Yeah.
So when he was buying his tickets, he bought the Detroit ticket first, and I was like, I bet he's gonna buy the Boston ticket next.
Yep.
And then like 2 minutes
Well,
later,
he lives like halfway in between.
Right.
So
2 minutes later, the order came in, and I sent him a text message. And I was like, I saw that coming in. I knew you were gonna do both.
thank you.
And he's like, that's really cool.
That's
So,
awesome. Yeah,
Anyway.
and there was another guy. His name's Steven Randanovich, I think is his last name. Who
Radovanovich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He literally left. Super nice guy.
Yeah.
Lives in New Jersey. So he's been to Philadelphia. I think just Philadelphia and Boston.
Probably.
Yeah. But anyway, he left New Jersey at 1:45 in the morning in a Renault Encore.
Mm-hmm.
Like a Renault Encore.
Yeah.
And drove to the show.
Yeah.
In the pouring rain the whole entire way.
Correct.
Spent the whole day at the show in a 3-piece suit.
Yes.
Got back in his car and
drove home.
5.5 hours back to New Jersey.
Yeah.
Like, trooper.
Dude rules.
Yeah, trooper.
He's really cool.
The traveling component is the part that boggles my mind about it the most. Like,
Well, we're going to shame some people right now. Because we had some people that are local
that didn't show
that
up.
were like, it's raining, I'm not driving my car.
yeah.
And they were like, just not showing up.
I mean, I guess that's the point, that the 80s and 90s cars still keep up with modern traffic just fine.
Yeah. Well,
I mean,
and that's kind of the whole thing with Radwood is like we bought into these cars when we were young because one, they were new enough that you could keep up with traffic. You had reliable air conditioning usually.
Yeah.
You had reasonably reliable engines and fuel injection and that kind of stuff. Like it started every time. You didn't have to tinker with carburetors and all that. Started
Most of
most
the time.
times, yeah.
For some reason, I'm into Mitsubishis.
Yeah,
a lot of
well,
my 80 stuff is still carbureted.
You know. But anyway, so this is kind of the reason that we fell in love with these cars because they were inexpensive at a time when we started to drive them.
Yep.
And they were sort of reliable or reliable enough, and they were advanced enough that they got decent mileage and were able to keep up with traffic, and then were simple enough you could still work on them.
Mm-hmm.
So like anything from the 2000s, it's like it's starting to get a little bit tricky to work on it yourself. Some people still do it, and
course.
more power to them.
Yeah.
But you know,
Andrew
like
has a project car update later on that'll be including that.
But like most of my cars are from the 80s and 90s,
Yeah,
and
I
I
think-
work on everything myself.
I think the key
so.
element to that whole thing is why I get into it was they were more affordable.
Sure.
I mean,
absolutely.
There were cars
and
we
it's
knew.
what we could afford.
There were
at the
cars
time.
we knew, and it's what we could afford. That's I think that's
Yep.
the main crux of everything involved in this.
But the reason we fell in love with them was because they were still analog enough that you could have fun driving them.
that
Yeah.
and people are emotional and things that you remember when you're young. make you
Sure, yeah.
emotional.
Nostalgia is a hell of a
Nostalgia's the
drug.
main driver of this whole thing. It's the reason that 57 Chevys sell for $70,000.
Yeah.
Like it's all nostalgia. It's not anything beyond that.
Yep.
I mean, if you start digging into it too much, we can make excuses, we can make stories,
Sure.
but if all we really wanted was air conditioning and reliability, we'd all be driving Corollas.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
it's mostly it's emotion and nostalgia that brings.
And
us to
I
this.
do have a story about that as well because I just got a bill for my engine rebuild on the 912E.
Yeah, so we'll definitely get into project car updates pretty soon. But parting out in Radwood, Andrew, do you have any other thoughts about the Boston show that you anything good about the show that you liked more than other shows, or I think we should improve next year? Hint, hint, nudge, nudge to the guy who can do it in the room here.
No, it was pretty good.
Weather.
Yeah, weather.
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
we can't do.
Okay, don't hold it in Boston.
Yeah, I mean, we tried. We tried.
If it had been on Sunday, it would have been
Yeah.
glorious.
Um,
Today's weather at the Volkswagen show was killer.
Yeah, it was perfect. It was perfect fall day today.
Yeah. 70 degrees. Just gorgeous.
yeah.
I think my only complaint would be maybe I don't want call them out too much either, but maybe like brief the DJ a little more of what's going
Yeah.
on.
Oh, yeah, that was
Yeah.
the only thing I was thinking of.
Yeah.
He had a couple of replays that he played the same song a few times during the day.
I didn't
and
notice
then
that. I noticed more like he
there were a
played
couple of modern
Old
songs.
Town Road.
Yeah,
he played
yeah,
Eminem. and
Yeah, yeah.
It wasn't even like early like question. He played one like questionably like Radwood era Eminem.
Yeah.
I don't know when Eminem's first album came out. Was it 99 or was it 2000?
No, it was into the 2000s.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
but he played one
2000.
Eminem song that was like one of his real aggressive like slash heavy metal like Eminem new songs, and I was like, this isn't even like on the cusp. This is
Yeah.
just like
Yeah, yeah.
this is awful aggressive for a family show. So let's take it back a notch, and then
Yeah, and there's a bunch of like really cool 80s bands and 90s bands that came out of Boston that we could have played.
yeah,
sure.
I think a more informed DJ.
but I know like
that also doesn't play like sound effects would be awesome.
I kind of like the sound effects. I'm with it, but
like the car. I know the Cars started in the 70s, but the Cars had a lot of songs that were really popular in the 80s.
Yeah,
and
they
they're from
did.
Boston.
They
yeah.
very
Yeah.
much did. Yeah.
So
And the band Boston
And the
started
band
in the
Boston.
70s,
Yeah.
but had a lot of 80s hits.
yeah, or the Pixies or anything like that. I mean, it's still kind of upbeat, dancey stuff, but
Yeah.
that's just me.
yeah, yeah.
That's
Yeah, I mean, I've always had this. The problem with DJs is a lot of DJs play hip hop
exactly.
because, and that's not a
You can
knock
mix it.
against hip hop,
Yeah.
but that's like what people request for.
because people want to dance.
Exactly. And for a Radwood, I envision songs that you won't necessarily dance to, but that you'll sing along to.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're setting the atmosphere.
A lot of like pop music, you know, your Madonnas and
Yeah.
Well, again, I think a lot of the
that.
atmosphere was kind of,
Janet Jackson.
for lack of a better word, drowned out at this event
Yeah.
because of the rain.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And that is, I mean, we're trying to focus on that a little more at each show. Is making it a more atmosphere centric show rather
Yeah.
than just cars.
I did like that
exactly.
multiple vans had CRT TVs in them and video games in
good.
the back.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So there were at least two of them.
I
Yeah.
didn't even see that.
I like to
that's
tell
awesome.
people it's an 80s and 90s party with cars.
With cars.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the vibe that we're going for,
Yeah.
but occasionally the show ends up being more about cars than it is about the
But
Yeah.
ultimately, that's
The
what it's
vibe.
going to be because that's all the people that are involved from the outside, from the outskirts like us who would go to a lot of shows and help out and volunteer, to you guys who actually put the show on. Like, we are all car people.
Sure.
So
Yes.
at the end of the day, I wouldn't be going to an 80s party.
No.
Like
I'd be going to a car
Yes.
show.
I know-
And the 80s element makes it cooler.
the old radio
80s and 90s,
station
excuse me.
FNX around here used to do for Halloween. They do like an 80s 90s prom. Like if
Yeah,
you did
sure.
if you did that for a theme for one of the
Yes.
shows, like
Yes.
hey, everybody show up in your old prom gear,
Yeah.
and we'll crown like a prom king and queen. Like
Yeah.
that'd be super fun, right?
Yeah. We've thought about stuff like that.
Just gave me a good idea for next time.
I definitely want to add like more extreme sports stuff.
Yeah.
Like maybe have a half pipe or
Yeah,
something like that.
skateboarding and BMX and all that stuff.
Inline skates.
Yeah, we haven't had any inline skates yet at all, have
No.
we? Yeah.
No. And I definitely want to have. I mean, at LA, it's not really a scoop, but we're gonna try to have a period correct live music.
Okay.
Not necessarily a cover band, but
An actual band from the
an
era?
actual band.
See, that's a lot easier probably in LA because they're in LA.
Right. Yeah. It's a modern band, but the music they play
Oh,
sounds
interesting.
of the era.
We'll
so
have to ask off air what's going on. 'cause
Yeah,
I don't want
yeah.
to give that scoop away yet.
All right. So as not to get too deep into Radwood, let's get
Yes.
to some other stuff.
Again,
Yeah.
it was 2 days since Radwood Boston, which is an important event in our
Well,
lives. It's the reason I'm here. It's the reason Brad's here.
I have a
You
pedantic.
just live here.
I have a pedantic correction that has to do with Radwood.
Okay, good.
Oh boy. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Because I posted a picture to my Instagram of what I thought was a first gen.
Oh no,
Ford
you
Taurus.
were wrong.
I got lit up.
Yep.
Like
Was it the show?
yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's a second gen.
Also part of the post.
Yes.
Ooh, SHO.
Yeah.
It's an SHO.
See, here's the reason we don't like that. So, in the era of the SHO, first gen and second gen,
Super high output.
super high output show, as you called it.
Yeah.
There was always a debate. What is it? Do you want to skip ahead of that? We might as well now.
We can go right to it.
Yeah. You want to say it then?
Yeah. I mean, does it like? Is it Talentisa? Like what?
Well, according to Warren, I'm TSIS
Yeah.
350.
TSIS
so-
350.
But
Duh.
do I have a Subaru Rex?
I've heard people say that before, but probably not.
But it's
It-
like motorcycle people say Gixxer.
Yeah.
Oh
Sure.
my God, it's not.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it Eclipse Gixxer or an Eclipse GSX?
Yeah.
Gixx.
Just so it depends on the letters, obviously.
Do you have a GTO or a Gito?
A Ghetto. What? I mean, you have a Tiger or whatever they called them.
There was it was a tiger. That was what they did with it? They had a tiger tail at the back of it.
Yeah.
I was gonna say put a tiger in
Put a
tank,
tiger
but
in tank.
That
That was
wasn't
Exxon.
GTO.
From-
That was Exxon.
Yeah.
But anyways, I remember in era, an SHO in this area here in particular, it was a white second gen SHO.
It says Showtime on it.
It had a huge lightning bolt graphic on the back window that was just all over the place. It was like one of those like wolf T-shirts with lightning bolts.
Yeah.
But it was all white lightning bolts in the back window, and it said "It's Showtime" in
Nice.
huge letters. And ever since that car in particular, I can't say the word "show" because I get such like douche chills from that car for the rest of my life.
There's one in Reno. You know how when you have a commute and there's somebody else that
You see
has
the
the
same
same
cars?
commute?
Yeah.
So there was an SHO that had the license plate "I'll show you,"
Okay,
and he traded it in.
in 2019, that's kind of a creepy statement.
Yeah. He traded it in on a new SHO
Okay.
and kept the same license plate.
Okay.
So he was clearly an enthusiast. But anyway,
Okay.
I don't know. I think it's just a shortening thing. Like I always call it a show. Because like the Shogun,
That's different.
It's a
That's
full
a word.
word.
I suppose.
I
But
like that word. I don't
yeah.
like show.
all right, it's an SHO.
I really thought
Whatever.
it was like the 80s one and then the bubble one was like two generations.
No,
Yeah.
and I told you the other day.
I got schooled.
Other
that-
than like the
because the
thin headlights and thin taillights, the biggest difference, how you know it's a whole new car and a different unibody structure, is look at the rear glass to quarter window, and that quarter window, that quarter panel, the C pillar, is very different on both cars.
In my defense, when somebody posted a picture of the first gen and the second gen, I was like, yeah, that looks like a facelifted car. Like it literally looks.
It
looks a
kind of
little
does.
bit,
Like
yeah.
it looks like they got rid of some chrome trim, and it looks like they changed a few
Yeah.
things around.
But
yeah, it is
I
a
understand,
different
like,
car.
if you had a really good selling car, because that car sold really, really well,
Exactly.
you wouldn't change the styling that much,
Yep.
which is like what they did with new Crosstreks. Like an 18 to a 19 Crosstrek is a different platform,
but it looks
but
identical.
it looks almost identical because they sold so well.
Well, Ford did that. Ford screwed up a little later on when they made the new Taurus.
Yeah,
because,
the bubble one.
Well, no, the new Taurus.
Oh,
Because they called they didn't they made the
was
bubble
the
one and people bought
500
it,
or-
but they came out with the Ford 500. They're like, the Taurus is dead, guys. We're selling you a 500.
we're
And
bringing back the 500
and
name
general
plate from
public
the
was
50s.
like,
what does that even mean?
I don't want to buy a Ford 500, and they sat on dealer lots all year round.
And then they
so the
changed the
next
name to
year, the
Taurus.
car came out, and they called it a Ford Taurus, and they literally didn't change much else. And people were like, "Holy crap, the Taurus is back!
Yeah.
Put my down payment on that.
Yeah.
Better go get one."
Consumers are dumb.
Right, and then they took the Ford Freestyle, and they were like, "Nobody's buying this car. We're gonna call it the Taurus X."
Yep.
And they sold the rest of their cars, no problem at all.
Weird.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's exactly why consumerism is a disease.
Yep.
and most people are afflicted with it, including us.
Anyway, so what was your correction was that it wasn't a second.
He called it a second
first
gen.
I
gen.
call
first
it a
gen.
first
Call
gen.
it first
but
gen.
it's a
Probably a
second
second
gen.
gen.
Okay. All right.
And I mean, it's
that was
like,
the one with the bike on the roof?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, it literally has like the most comments I've ever gotten on an Instagram post.
And nothing brings out how many followers you have until you get something wrong.
Yeah.
Well, I
All
also
right.
tagged it, so like all these random people keep posting that that's a second gen. It's like, yes,
Oh, like-
you can see the thread. Like I acknowledge.
All the Taurus people came out of the woodwork.
You're
Yeah,
just
it's not
commenting,
good.
sorry.
I'm not gonna change it.
No, at this point, it's almost dumb to change.
I
it.
was today years old, or yesterday years old.
when I learned. I think we knew. Honestly, I think you probably knew that.
I didn't.
No, you probably
no.
did.
No, I didn't.
In 1997,
Nope.
you were probably aware of that.
No.
But it was such an insignificant fact that it just out of your mind, and you didn't even think about it
And
ever
car
again.
people are so exact. But honestly, wasn't it more fun to argue about that than politics, right?
Yeah.
It was.
And I guess you could say it's the first gen SHO.
No, there was a jet SHO in the first.
There was an
gen,
early one.
Yeah,
There was?
100%. The vented
I thought
grill.
I thought it was the V6 and then the V8.
Absolutely not. No. So the V6 was in the first and second gen.
Okay.
The SHO cars, they had a vented grill panel on the front that had
Uh-huh.
these angle slash
Oh,
cuts in it,
boy.
like an
Okay.
Escort GT.
This is so deep.
All right.
It was really deep, but it was a really neat car. And first gen SHOs are like, they are the SHO.
So the third gen Taurus SHO was the
The
Yamaha V8 one.
Yeah.
And that was automatic only.
Bubble car, yeah.
Yeah, bubbly car.
It was cool because it was a V8, but it was lame
Yeah.
because everything else.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That was the car.
Right.
So most of those aren't in the road anymore either because of issues with the butterfly valves and the throttle bodies.
All right, so moving on with the show.
So, sorry. Ouch! I just got that. That's
yeah.
not good.
Yeah, it was good.
I prefer the contour anyway. Give me a nice
Contour SVT
give me
would
a nice
be
SVT
sweet.
Contour.
The Svit.
The Svit. Yes, the
Contour
the
Svit?
Contour Svit. It's like a driver's SHO. I like
It's
those cars.
like a European.
Yeah, it goes a Mondeo.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. It's also a car that is not on the road anymore because of weird little engine pieces that break, and Ford stopped making them in like 1999. So
Wasn't it just like a Duratec V6 with like?
it had different intake,
Yeah.
and it had the same problem that the V8 SHOs had. It had a weird butterfly valve that
variable
just dies.
runners.
Yeah, and it just dies, and you can't fix it. You can't replace it. You rebuild it, and nobody wants to rebuild it because it's a Ford Contour. So they just get sent to the junkyard. Unfortunately, if I found a decent one, I would definitely buy it. Of
course you
cool
would.
car.
All right. You get some project car updates?
Do I have any project updates?
I know.
Did
Oh
I
yeah, you
anything?
do actually. You finished the car.
Uh,
We didn't talk about. We talked about you starting to finish it.
I think last time we talked about the car was
You went and
still-
got the paint.
I got the paint. We talked about the paint issue.
I was there when he revealed it, and I don't think he's happy with it.
No.
No, he witnessed the reveal. It wasn't good.
He's like, it's good enough for the show, I guess.
I was like, it's good enough for now.
Yeah.
It's not gray
No,
Like it
it's
was
not gray.
before.
It's not orange.
or peeling.
But the problem is that for the past 20 years of my life, I've been an insurance appraiser / body shop like QC guy.
Yeah.
So when I have something that's done, it needs to be like done, like perfect, like exactly the right color. And I knew going into it I wasn't going to get an exact match because I literally went to a paint store and was like, "Here's the code, make me a can." But I just think I can't live with that. So
Okay.
it
But
was good.
So what?
I got lots of compliments on the car. And everybody was like, "Yeah, this is the one you just finished restoring." And I was like, "Well, I mean, I painted a door. Let's not give me too much credit here." Like,
Never finished.
yeah.
So what's the answer there? You have to find another door, or you have to
Well,
find
the,
paint the whole
the
car.
answer
The
is
whole
I'm going to
car.
paint the whole car.
Oh,
Yeah.
Christ!
But it's
All
cheaper
right.
in Phoenix, though, right?
It is cheaper to get painted in Phoenix, yeah.
You know what's even cheaper?
Not painting the whole car?
No, going a little further south of the border.
Oh.
Everything's cheaper there.
Fun story. I do have an interior guy now south of the border, who I've met through a friend of a friend.
Yeah.
But
You get that tuck and roll interior in it,
yes, the tuck and roll.
and they're gonna fill it with
was
horse
that-
manure.
What was that movie?
It's some movie about them.
They were driving like an old Ford.
but
south
they're
of the
like
border.
the whole point is like
it's like a
they're-
teenage sex romp movie.
yeah, they're like trying to get to Tijuana, but they also want to get the tuck and roll.
And they want to buy Spanish Fly. That's one of the
Yeah,
plot points I
and
remember
like
too.
I can't remember the name of the movie. They used to play it on Comedy Central all the time, but like they were worried that like the car was going to come back with horse manure stuffed in the seats or something. Tuck and
It
roll.
was a typical like '90s racist Mexican movie.
Yeah, it was really weird.
I
But
think they were all. You're just describing '90s movies.
yeah,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know,
probably.
it was an edgy teen comedy.
Oh no, it's from the '80s. It's called Losing It.
Okay,
Yeah, 1983. That was even earlier than I thought.
I've never heard of this movie.
Yeah, it was on Comedy Central
like
all
in
the
repeat.
time.
Yeah, like afternoon movie.
Interesting.
It was like get home from school and like turn on Comedy Central and this is the movie.
It was
that
either
on.
that or like a Monty Python movie they used to play.
I never had cable, so I don't know. Never had that until
Unfortunately,
college.
unfortunately, I did.
What about
It
okay?
was,
So
a 57 Chevy they were driving.
Yeah.
Red 57 Chevy convertible.
so tell us about the Subaru. The
I haven't-
bricks.
Well, anyway, the car's painted. Let me finish my story.
Oh, yeah.
Your story's
Listen,
over.
listen, guest.
It made it to the show.
Listen, guest.
Hey, he's moving us along here.
Yeah.
So it was 10:30 at night, the night before the show,
Yeah.
and I finally got the car together.
I want to get to dinner.
I
here
did
in a
all
minute,
the. Well, we still got 15 minutes before it's even ready. So
Yeah.
I did all of the moldings and all of the stuff, and got the car back together and cleaned it up enough to bring it to the show. And I feel like if it was raining, if it wasn't raining, I might have been more embarrassed with how it came out. But it was pouring rain, so
So
everybody
you
was
didn't
like,
even notice.
"It's beautiful. Look at
rain
the wax on
hides
that panel."
all flaws.
It does, yeah.
It's pretty good.
I don't think anybody noticed.
Because like even I don't want to call anybody out, but even that SPG had a few little scratches and scrapes, and I think it would have looked worse if it was
Yeah.
dry.
So, fun fact: do you know who was the main character in Losing It?
No.
Tom Cruise.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Anyway,
In '83,
yeah.
Been a while since
Wow.
I've seen that movie.
and he
Alright.
probably looked exactly the same as he does today.
I mean, yeah,
He's had a lot of work.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he isn't anywhere.
No, he's
It's all
he's-
religion, my friend.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Pray the wrinkles away.
That's right.
All right, now we can move on, Brad. to
Thanks.
Andrew.
Thanks, Brad.
I don't think I've handed off to Brad. Brad and Brad. We need like a sound effect.
There it is.
That's all right.
Bradley
Just a box
knocking
of
over a
tissues.
radiator.
The broken radiator. I don't even know why I have that. I don't have the heart to throw it away. I haven't.
You can get a radiator guy to fix that.
It's aluminum. I'm gonna have it like TIG welded or something.
Yeah, it's easy.
So easy.
Just get some bars leaks. It'll be fine.
Yeah, I'll just get the car
Brand
hot.
new radiator.
Get the car hot and dump an egg in there.
Yeah.
Like a Model T.
Fixed. Honestly, I have a 944 turbo that needs a radiator. I'll just fix it and put it in that.
Yeah.
It doesn't even fit. But
Take it home.
fuck it.
You probably have a bunch of radiator shops out where you live. We don't. We have one, and they do
Yeah.
questionable work.
Yeah, that's true. We have tons of them in Phoenix. Like
There's a
tons.
reason why we have a bunch of Volkswagen shops in Reno.
Yeah.
Because there's mountains right there.
Yeah.
And they get to the top of the mountain
Coast down.
and they coast down and they're like, my shit's broken.
My father, growing up, he used to always call cars like that rolls canardlies. Rolls down one hill, can hardly make it up the next.
Yeah. Nice.
So,
So
anyway,
I haven't touched the. I don't think I've touched the WRX since last time we talked about the podcast.
did you take it apart before you came to Phoenix?
Yeah, I gotta work on it. Tomorrow some more. I gotta get the thing off of it. It's the intake off.
Yep.
And then I'll keep working on it because it's so rusty.
Right.
Rusty Rex.
Something that Brad and I don't know anything about anymore because
Yeah, what's rust?
we moved away from the rust.
Why even bother living in a place where there's rust?
I don't
You
know.
moved. Andrew, you're next.
I didn't bring a single car with me that was rusty, so.
I just got triggered.
Yeah.
How did you let go?
I had a 944 that I still dearly miss, and I replaced it with one that wasn't rusty.
Yeah. Like you should replace that Raider with a not rusty Raider
Andrew.
because they're everywhere there.
Andrew, stop.
No, stop making sense.
No, you never make sense.
Also, I'm pretty good at letting go of stuff, which I'm doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Just sell everything because
I like
it doesn't matter.
So what's the secret to letting things go? We've asked this question of our fans before. Listeners, whatever you want to call them.
So-
none of our fans, they all hate listen. But because I have a problem.
I know. I've noticed.
Yeah.
I've now seen your collection.
You're like, this is all garbage.
No. No.
But it's been sitting for a long time.
Yes.
Yeah.
It wasn't garbage. No, so
When they were new.
no, I'm not gonna rag on you too hard because I get it. I mean, I had 10 cars. I'm down to 7, which is a big improvement, but I still have more to go. So if anybody wants a 944 or 944 turbo or an S6,
I thought the 944 turbo was. Oh, we'll get to that later.
it was gone
Yeah.
for about 4 days.
And it came
So it
back.
got on
and
top
it
of
came
that
back.
hill we were just talking about.
Yeah.
It rolled back down.
Yeah.
The cat came back the very next day.
That's right. It easily could. Honestly, it could have made it to L.A. But
So now that you've seen my whole collection,
yes.
what do you want to trade for it?
On,
Half kidding.
honestly, I would take the NSU,
That could be arranged.
or the Camaro.
That would not be
No,
arranged.
that would take multiple vehicles.
And I would never blame you for keeping the Camaro because I will say I do have forever cars.
Okay.
Like the 912, I can't get rid of.
Right.
One because it'd be fiscally irresponsible to sell it for what it's worth.
I don't know how that would be.
As much as I've put into it,
Fiscally responsible.
no. I've spent more on it than it's worth.
Oh.
You just have to keep it a little longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. No, because it's got rust and it's got. I mean, it's not.
The bubble has burst. They're not going any further up.
Yeah, they're not
Yeah.
going up anymore.
You just wait for inflation to catch up. Then you'll be good.
Right,
Yeah.
sure, yeah. But I also have a bond with that car.
Yep.
So, and I understand that.
It's like my Camaro and my Colt. 78 Colt.
But with any of the other stuff that I've bought, I don't really have that relationship because I don't have the time to drive them as much as I want to.
Okay.
So the Rad 44, it's a great car, but every time I think about selling it, I'm like, yeah, I should sell this. And then I go drive it and I'm like, damn, this drives really well. I need to keep it.
Yeah, and it's also like the image of Radwood.
Yeah, exactly. And then the turbo is kind of the same problem because it drives awesome,
Right.
but I desperately need to get rid of it.
Right.
And the Audi S6 that I lifted and put on big mud tires, it's not particularly good off-road
Mm-hmm.
because the suspension's too stiff,
Mm-hmm.
and it's basically like maxed out, so it's just not. It doesn't articulate well.
Worst car salesman ever. You got this car? It sucks off road, sucks on road. Buy it now.
Yeah, I ruined it. So, do you want to buy it?
Well, I still have all the parts to put it back to stock,
Okay.
so it would ride fine. And I've thought about that. Like, I have good wheels for it that I could put on it with some sticky tires and just slam it on the ground and put some fender flares on it. It would be really dope.
Some scene kid will buy it from you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it just looks so boss with the off-road tires and stuff, but it drives kind of bad. So, I don't know. There's part of me that's like, well, I kind of want to keep that because it's a car that it's weird because S6s, the early S6s, they drive really well.
Sounds like I asked you a question to help me.
No, I know.
And you're just going to the wrong path.
Yeah, I know.
You're like, because I'm like, yeah, Saab 9000s. They
Yeah.
drive really well.
It drives really well. I
But-
should keep
They
it, but
should keep it.
So
it
I
works
j-
perfectly. Why would I sell it?
so I just kind of had to come to a point where I was like, I have to get rid of everything. Like, even though I desperately want to keep everything.
Yeah, I have to too, but I'm not.
But you should.
Here's my problem.
I'm nodding.
You want-
Andrew's nodding.
Do you want to know my honest problem?
Mm.
I'm like the abusive boyfriend.
Okay.
Where like I don't treat the car very well because it's in the driveway.
Sure.
But I'm like, if I can't have you, nobody
Nobody
can have you.
can.
that's kind of like
Jesus,
It's
that's
so-
dark.
I don't have that problem, so
it's
I don't
very,
really.
It's very dark, and it's not how I am in real life about other things. But my cars, like, because in my brain, I'm like, if I sell this '74 Colt, what's going to happen to it? Somebody's going to buy it. They're going to park it in the garage.
You have to not care.
They're going to forget about it.
You just.
They got to put it outside. It's going to get further than ruined. And it's going to wind up in a junkyard.
That's the hoarder mentality.
Yeah. You have to not care. It's not your problem at that point. Someone gives you cash for the car. It's no longer your car.
I want to save everything.
I know you do, but you don't have to. Don't shoulder that burden.
It's
Talk to a
shouldered.
therapist.
It's shouldered.
Um,
This episode has got real deep.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been
Sorry.
telling you this for 165 episodes.
And I haven't listened once. And you think I'm listening tonight?
Yeah.
Nope.
anyway, so I have
It's
this
all
Toyota
insurance.
pickup truck that you need to come pick up.
Right, exactly. I don't need that truck.
No, you don't.
I have enough garbage.
You really
Why do I
don't.
need more garbage?
I don't need either, but I also like it. So
But it's a cool truck.
But I have the
And
same.
it needs to be saved.
I have the same problem.
Right.
I saved it because it was going to the
Needed to be
junkyard,
saved. Yeah.
and it deserved to be saved. But I've realized that I no longer have the time to get it to the point where I want to get
See,
it.
I will have the time. That's the problem.
well, that's fine. Once you have the time to work on these things, once you have the space to work on it, it's fine.
Well, there you go.
Okay, that's what I think
Yeah,
about all of them. So you just sold me like, hey,
No.
once you have the time, it's fine. So I'm like, I have time for all 12 of them.
No, you got to pare it down because there's like certain ones that you got to get rid of that you're just not going to get to. There's not worth shipping across the country to
Well,
your.
and I agree.
And
to-
that's why I got rid of my first
Yeah.
944 because it was a $1,500 car and it was $2,000 to ship it. And I was like, well, that's not worth it. So I gave it to a friend, and I was out $1,500 instead of $3,500.
Well, I tried to give all my cars to Andrew, but he doesn't want any of them.
I'd take the white steering. I'd mess with that because it's weird. Well, it's not weird. It's just like it's got a cool story.
You want the purple one?
I think
No,
the,
I don't want the purple
You
one.
can have the purple one.
I don't want the purple.
I think the maroon one is better
one.
because it's almost complete.
I don't want to do another engine in a car
Oh,
just
yeah.
not into it.
Alright, that's fair.
right now.
Yeah, yeah.
I got to do an engine in the Montero because it ticks like crazy, and
Mm.
that's gonna be like the next engine project.
Don't
That
worry
might go
about
a
it.
lot.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Just drive it till it's dead.
Anyway,
I have been driving it. I was told 2 years ago, like the guy I bought it from, he's like, I don't know how long it lasts. I was like, I don't know either. You just keep driving it, and it doesn't seem to care. So I keep changing the oil in it.
and there's no metal in the oil either.
There's no
so
metal
I
in
don't
the
know what
oil,
the sound
so
is.
I don't know what the ticking is. It just bugs me, so I'm only gonna throw an engine in it because it bothers me.
Mm.
But otherwise, I'm just gonna keep driving it the way it is until I swap it.
So you want to
Project car updates.
get even deeper, even
Sure.
darker?
I don't know.
Uh,
Maybe.
So I almost died.
Okay.
Like
Yeah, so let's
2
get
months
into your
ago.
story. You wrote a story about this for Jalopnik,
I
actually.
did. If
Yeah.
you want to get the real
Yeah, you
nitty gritty details,
Yeah.
go read it on Jalopnik.
You're
But,
right.
So I was flying to Radwood, UK,
Mhm.
and I had a seizure and I vomited. I ended up in the hospital, and it ended up being 3 massive peptic ulcers.
Which is not good.
Not great.
Yeah.
I was digesting my own blood. I vomited a bunch of blood. It was pretty bad.
That's bad.
That sounds like a really great flight.
Yeah.
If it had happened when I was home alone, I probably wouldn't be here.
That would be sad.
Yeah. More than likely, or if it had happened when we were over the Atlantic, I probably wouldn't be here.
Okay.
So,
You were close enough to the destination, basically?
well, it didn't get bad until I was already at the hospital.
Okay.
So I vomited on the plane, but they were like, you look fine. We'll give you some oxygen and you'll be okay. And then I got to the hospital.
That's like standard plane fix. Like,
yeah.
we're all crashing in the ocean and we're going to die. Some oxygen. We're going to be all right.
The masks will come down.
Yeah.
You'll be okay.
Everything will be fine.
Yeah. So I had a nasty experience, and like I was in the hospital for 6 days
Right, in England.
in England.
With no family around.
None.
Yeah. Just a couple
Um,
friends that came by.
They came by for half an hour.
Yep. Which is all you can expect.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. They had a show to run. I'm not saying they should have been
Yep.
there like by my bedside, but
Yep.
I saw people that I knew for half an hour out
Yep.
of 6 days.
Right. That's crazy.
Yeah. And no television, and my phone, I could only charge it once I was able to get out of bed. So like
They
for
wouldn't plug it in for you?
no, because I didn't have a plug.
Okay.
So I had to plug in my laptop and then charge my phone from my laptop.
Okay.
So I had to like dig my laptop out of my bag and plug that in. Anyway, so
It's not gone well for you, has it?
Are you bored, sir?
So I spent a lot of time sleeping because I was like half out of blood. Literally, you run an engine half out of oil and it'll complain. I ran half out of blood.
But you got better.
I got better. I'm fine now.
Yeah. Like my Colt. I
got better.
I got better.
She turned me into a newt.
Not dead yet.
So anyhow, yeah, almost died. Made it back, and my wife and I started talking, and we're like, well, it's a lot of stress and we need to just like de-stress. How do we do that? Probably should get rid of some project cars.
Okay.
So don't die, Brad. Get rid of some project cars. That's my advice.
I don't think the project cars killed you.
I
I mean,
think,
nothing killed you, but I don't think the project cars almost killed you.
I think it was stress. I think a lot of it was just like weighing on me, and it was rough.
So see,
But anyway,
So my advice is always the one at a time method.
sure.
You have to pick one
Yeah.
and work on it.
Yes.
Don't think about how many you have,
Right.
because even this works when you're working for a job. Like if you've got a bunch of stuff to do for work, you're
Focus
like,
on
crap,
one-
I have all these
one
things to do,
task.
and you freak out, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh wait. If I just do, I can only get to so many at once, so I'll just do one at a time,
It's kind of
and
the
I'll
same
get
thing.
through them all.
It's kind of the same advice for like credit card debt.
Yeah,
If you have 7 credit cards to pay off, you pay off one of them at a time.
yeah,
So
and that's all you think about.
Yeah, same thing. Anyway, so we decided, I have 10 cars I need to get down to 2. Well, 3, because Amanda's car needs to be around. So
I'm looking scared right now.
I know,
So,
right?
It's like 2 cars is not enough cars.
it is for me.
Plenty of cars.
It is
Says
for
the
me.
guy with 4.
Yeah, I have 2 dailies. I have to rotate 2 old dailies.
Right.
So Amanda has the Buick
Yeah,
Tourex.
2
It's a
others.
new car. Well,
New
now it's got 20,000 miles on
Still a
it.
new car.
But yeah, it's a year old.
Yeah.
We bought it 1 year ago. We've already put 20
it's a
grand on it.
European GM car. You don't have anything to worry about.
Totally.
Yeah,
It's fine. Turbocharged. It's got
Yeah.
a Saab motor.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's totally fine.
Got a warranty, so yeah.
Yeah. And that's 0% financing, so like whatever.
free money.
Just, yeah, free money.
Free car.
Yep. Basically.
Basically free car.
And then I'm gonna keep the 912E. I already discussed that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna keep the Boxster.
Okay.
So the 912E is mostly done.
Okay.
I don't want to do anything to it. I don't want to make it better. I don't want to make it worse. I just want to
Make it work.
make it work.
Yep.
Enjoy it as it is.
Yes.
And
Well,
just maintain it.
That's the best kind of car. A
Yes.
car that is like a little rough around the edges, mechanically sound, and you can just enjoy.
Yes. And that's how I've been living with that car for the last 3 years.
Except the mechanically sound part.
Well, it was mechanically sound
Okay.
until it wasn't.
Right.
So I'll kind of get into that a little bit.
Well, we have a phrase around here that Andrew talks about me all the time: is an acceptable level of disrepair.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes, it was that. It was very much that.
And Andrew says that my acceptable level of disrepair is much higher than his.
His tolerance level is so high.
My tolerance level is pretty high.
Like, this car has 3 wheels. Just lean out the window. It's fine.
Yeah.
Balance it out.
Yeah. As long as, it's got a brake rotor. That'll roll.
1 brake rotor is all
It's
you
fine.
need.
Yeah. So the 912E, I've had it for 3 years. It's got a little bit of cowl rust that, like, if I dug into it, I would need, like, a new roof.
Mm-hmm.
It would need, a $30,000 restoration. It's not worth that. So I just kind of deal with it. It had at one point it had been rear-ended, and the quarter panel fit's not perfect, so like the door doesn't close right, but it closes. It's just kind of like the shut line is wrong.
Rough around the edges.
Yeah,
Totally fine.
so like if I wanted to fix it, it would be really expensive. So I just kind of mechanically fixed it. So I did fresh brake calipers. I had them, sent them out. I got them rebuilt, put them back on. They're gorgeous. And then I've done a few other things around there. Still need to get an exhaust built because 912Es, they only made 2,000 of them, and the heat exchangers just don't exist. And mine were rotten, so I had to throw them away. And people are like, "Oh my God, why are you throwing those away?" And I was like, "Because they're rotten." And they're like, "Yeah, but they're worth like $1,000." I'm like, "Not with holes in them."
Yeah. Buy them, please. Then buy them, please.
Yeah.
They're in my garbage.
Yeah.
Get them out.
I literally, like, to break my mind of keeping them, I sawzalled them in half so that I wouldn't have an incentive to try to
So you're
fix them.
saying I should saws all my cars in half?
Yes.
All right.
Yes. So I threw them in trash. So I need to build an exhaust system with an exhaust shop and like it doesn't need heat. I live in the desert. It's fine.
Yep.
But I just need something that's not quite so loud and something that doesn't leak and is functional.
Right.
So I've been driving it. I've put probably 25,000 miles on it in 3 years. It's a great car. I love driving it. It's comfortable. It's functional. It handles really well. It's fun. Recently, I've had some issues where it drives great at altitude because I live at 4,500 feet, give or take. But at sea level, it runs like shit. So obviously, I took it to a shop in Reno, and they're like, "Well, I can't figure it out because it runs great at altitude." So I called a friend that had a shop in the Bay Area. I was like, "Hey, you're 4 hours away, but I'm gonna bring my car down to you, and maybe you can see if it runs right." And so I'm on my way to his shop, and I was gonna take the bus back. I did take the bus back, and I got over the mountain, like you said. Air-cooled stuff, you get over the mountain, and then all of a sudden some shit
Roll down
breaks
the other
because,
side.
yeah, you roll down the other side. So I'm coming down the other side, and I hear this massive bang. I was like, oh, God, what just happened? So I pulled into a parking lot, and there's no, like, oil, there's no smoke coming out of it or anything like that. It's just kind of running shitty and way louder than it was before. I was like,
Okay.
I don't know what's wrong, but it's running, so I'm going to keep going. Because my options were I'm halfway there. I either turn around and go back over the mountain, or I keep going downhill to the Bay Area. It's like, I guess I'm doing that. And also, there's a mechanic down there that can maybe fix it. So I get it to his place, and he's like, "Why is this thing so loud?" And I was like, "I don't know. You're the mechanic. You figure it
Yeah,
out."
no shit. That's why it's here.
And I'm like, I could barely keep it running at stoplights. I had to like feather the throttle to keep it running, and like it pulled really horribly going uphill, and it was just way slower than usual. Which with 80 horsepower stock, it's always been slow. Well, you drove it in Vegas, and it was kind of shitty then, but it was way shittier after.
That's pretty shitty. It's real hard to drive.
Yeah.
Not being used to it was real hard to
Yeah.
drive.
Well, so that was the altitude problem, because Vegas is a little lower than
Okay.
Reno. So it I think it was vacuum leaks, and it just kind of it stumbled at idle, and it didn't want to.
Yeah, I need a third foot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it got worse than that. So I brought it to the mechanic shop, and he was like, "Why is it so loud?" And I was like, "I don't know." So I left the car with him, and he called me like 3 days later, and he goes, "Hey, got some bad news." I'm like, oh boy, all right. Anyone want to guess what happened? Do you know?
I don't know, actually. Do I know?
I don't remember if you told me or not.
You broke a rocker arm.
No.
Close.
Close, but no.
Wasn't the spark plug like blew out of the head,
There
right?
you go.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, he said. Well, so to add on to that, he said we ran a compression test, and I go, oh boy, give me the bad news, doctor.
Just don't tell me.
And he goes, cylinder 1 was 50 psi. Cylinder 2 was 100 psi. Cylinder 3 was 40 psi.
Mm-hmm.
And cylinder 4 blew the spark plug out of the...
0 PSI.
Yeah, zero. Nothing.
Yeah. 40 is bad, 0 is worse.
Yes. So if it had 80 horsepower stock,
At
it
36.
probably had, half that.
I feel like-
If that.
Don't you just have to rebuild Type 4 engines all the time anyways?
No. I mean, this one had 260,000 miles on it. So it was just old. It was just fatigued.
Yeah.
Air-cooleds run forever, pretty much.
They pretty much do, yeah. So I called. So when I was talking to him, I was like, "Okay, so what's this going to cost me?" And he goes, "Well, I don't do engines.
Oh, good.
He doesn't do engine rebuilds. He does like fixes shit." And I said, "Okay, I'll come pick it up, and I'll take it to a Volkswagen shop, and they'll rebuild it." And I know Type 4s are expensive to rebuild. Like even the bus motors, even if you do it cheap, it's not cheap.
Right.
I wonder why not.
I don't know.
They made so many of them.
Yeah.
Is a Type 4 engine different than what came in a Beetle?
Yes.
Even a bus.
It's a bus. It's a 411, square back, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but
You'll see a lot of buses and squarebacks and stuff
That's-
that have Beetle engines in them because they're
Yeah.
just cheaper.
Yes.
Which, if I had a 912, is what I would do.
hot rod Beetle engine.
Yeah. Like a $3,600
I feel like you can-
scat motor.
You can-
Yeah,
yeah,
well,
from like MP, yeah.
Yeah. It'd be less than what I have into this one already. So
That's what I mean.
yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I know.
it'd be fast.
It might. Yeah, it would. Anyway, beside the point.
Yeah. Beside my poor decisions.
Um,
Numbers matching.
And somebody actually offered me a 2700 Beetle motor
Right.
the other day. That they're like, this thing's hot as shit,
Yeah.
and
Like
you
a
could have it for like $4,000.
dual port, twin carb. Yeah.
I was like, yeah, but it's the wrong motor, and they're like, yeah, who cares?
So,
Yeah,
like,
not to like,
uh,
derail the conversation, but when I was in high school, my dream was an early 912 because at the time they were like $4,000.
Mhm.
Like a 68, 69, whatever year they came out.
They were the trash
65 to 69.
Okay. My dream was to buy one of those for like $4,000.
Yeah.
And then double the purchase price of it by putting in one of those, like I
Ye-
said,
yeah.
like a 2600 scat motor, like whatever they were.
Well, that's what I was looking for when I bought my Boxster,
Right.
and I ended up with the Boxster instead because they ended up going up above $10,000.
Yeah.
and I was like,
real
oh
quickly.
yeah,
Yeah.
I can't afford that anymore.
No, an early 912 now is stupid money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even I bought my E for 12,
Right.
and that's like,
Half.
yeah, dumb money for what they're what they used to be worth. You used to be able to get an E for like $1,000.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I take it to a motor rebuild shop, and I'm like, hey, needs an upper end rebuild, and he's like, it probably needs everything. I was like, I really don't want to split the case. It's going to cost twice as much.
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah, but I won't warranty it if I don't see what the bearings look like. I'm like, I get that. All right. And he's like, well, while it's apart, we can do like hydraulic lifters. We can do a new cam. We can do a bunch of stuff. And I was like, you've kind of convinced me. Okay. So he sent the case off to be machined. They looked at the bearings and they were like, yeah, these are wiped. If we had done the top end, you probably would have been looking at a blown motor in like 6,000 miles.
Oh, good.
Like, okay, well, I guess it's a good thing we're pulling it all apart and rebuilding the whole thing then. Ideally, once it's rebuilt, it'll never need to be rebuilt
At least in
Again?
my lifetime.
in my lifetime. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Because, I mean, 240,000 miles, I'm not going to put another 240,000 miles on it.
Likely not.
It's pretty
Drive to
unlikely.
Georgia a few more times.
Yeah, right. So I got my first bill from the machine shop, $2,500.
Nice.
Yeah.
First bill.
First bill. Yeah.
Down payment.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. It's probably going to be a $7,000 rebuild.
Ouch.
Yeah. On a car that I spent $12,000 on.
Hey, but it's still worth.
But it's
still worth it.
yeah.
At this point.
Yeah,
because
it's
of
a
the way the
sentimental
bubble-
car. It's it's worth more than the $12,000 that I spent on it.
You ready
so-
for the boomer wisdom?
It's becoming your identity.
Okay.
Speed costs money. How fast do you want to go?
Oh my god. I want to go about 110 horsepower fast.
Wait, I believe it's you could have two things:
Yeah.
cheap, fast, or reliable. Pick
Yeah.
two.
Yeah.
That's also
That's the
good.
other one. Yeah.
So,
So fast forwarding through that story because that's kind of
We're done.
We're done.
We're
All
done
right.
there, yeah.
Your big project right now is a trailer.
yes. And that's
Yeah.
part of that is kind of done.
Okay.
I've
So
done my
your-
part of it.
So your story with almost dying, selling all your things. You guys want to try trailer life for a little while.
Yeah, we're selling the house.
You want to see more of the United States?
Yes.
Travel around.
Travel around.
I envision a future where Bradley Brownell lives in my driveway.
I might stay there for a couple days.
Yeah, a couple days.
Couple days.
Yep.
I'd be happy to come down and see you.
You're welcome to stay as long as you want.
Okay.
When you get sick of traveling and not having a shower,
Yeah.
you'll always have a home.
All right.
When I have a home.
Well-
I don't have a home yet either.
Well, winter's coming, and I know that Phoenix is warmer than Reno. So,
Yes, it is.
yeah.
Yes, it is.
So I may come down for a few days in the winter.
We'll be there.
And, yeah.
I live
come
there
see
now.
you guys. I enjoy hanging out with you guys.
So what did you have to do to this? It's a scamp.
It is it's an acorn because Plymouth owned the rights to the word scamp.
For their Dodge Colt version.
Yes.
Mhm.
So they sued this company, and for 12 months they changed the name from Scamp to Acorn. So technically mine is an acorn.
Okay.
But then they won the lawsuit and changed the name back to Scamp.
Because it's not a car.
It's not a car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
However, we should get you a Plymouth Scamp to tow.
Totally.
He wants to actually go
Totally.
somewhere. So.
No, we'll listen. Project Car Creep will add more things to the list. We'll
Totally.
4G swap a Plymouth Scamp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Really,
will pay you to do that for
really
me.
reduce stress.
Yeah, I won't do it.
No.
Don't pay me anything.
No. So yeah, we bought this acorn. It's a 13-foot trailer, very small.
Which is very small
Yeah.
for like van life.
Yes.
It's no bigger than a van.
It's about as big as a van.
yeah.
Yeah, it's about as big as
That's
a
what
van.
I mean. Like,
Yeah.
it's not a big trailer.
We
Does it
have
have a kitchenette in it?
sort of. It's got a sink and a refrigerator.
No stove though.
It had a stove. We took it out because I don't trust propane in a fiberglass trailer.
Okay.
I'm gonna cook outside of the
Yeah,
trailer.
You can set up a camp
camp
stove
stove.
with a.
I
you
envision
do
the
a whole-
future of Bradley cooking in my kitchen.
No.
I'm just giving you shit. Like
I know,
I wish
I know, I
nothing
know.
but the best. Like
I
I
know.
hope this works out for you in all of the right
I do
ways.
too. And like, so none of this would be possible if like the real estate explosion in Reno hadn't happened, and like our house
Right.
is worth infinitely more than what we paid for it.
Right.
So I can liquidate all of our assets, and we'll have a cushion
Yep.
where if 6 months in we decide fuck this is terrible,
Yep.
we can rent a place or buy a place
Yep.
or whatever.
Yeah, you'll be able to put enough money aside that even after a year of doing it, you can probably put a down payment on a house
Yeah,
again.
and I'll still be working, so it's
Yeah.
not like I'll be spending the money. I'll still be earning
Yep.
my income. So.
I hear you.
But yeah, so we bought this 13-foot trailer. It's fiberglass. They actually began making these because it's a septic tank turned upside down.
For real? For real?
For real.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a fiberglass septic tank. I'm living in a shit trailer.
There's a certain like poetry to
Yes.
this.
Yeah.
I don't know what
So
it
you
is
had to do-
exactly, but
Do you have to do a bunch of fiberglass repair to it? I've never done
a
fiberglass
little.
repair.
A little. So basically, in removing the stove, I removed and covered over all of the vents for the stove.
Yeah.
And like it originally had just a port where the sink water just went onto the ground.
Yeah.
And I'm putting in a gray water tank, so it's going to go into a tank, and then I'll empty the tank out. So I don't just like.
it's probably more environmentally correct.
Yeah. Well, and we're going to be using like organic soaps and that kind of stuff, so it's not going to pollute as badly as it normally would. But yeah, so I covered up all the holes that were on that one side with new fiberglass work, and there was some kind of poor repairs that were done in the past to the fiberglass that I kind of cut out and repatched and faired in with aluminum sheeting and kind of made it a little stronger than it was. It still leans a little bit to one side on the roof because a tree fell on it at some point and they like kind of poorly repaired it.
As long as it's watertight, doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's watertight. Yeah.
Ask me how I know.
And then you added, I think you added solar powered stuff for
Yep, I added 2 solar panels to the roof. I added
you had batteries for
Yep.
for just lights, or what do they run?
So it'll run lighting, the charge ports for like laptops and phones. It'll run a stereo system. I'm putting a huge stereo system. It's gonna bump like a motherfucker.
Okay.
Priorities.
Yeah, exactly. I have these speakers that came from a prior project. They were
I couldn't listen to the Mountain Goats at more than 90 decibels. So,
well, I
knowing what you're a fan.
I envision
I mean, I couldn't listen at 0 decibels, but
I envision this being like surround sound for our iPad.
Okay.
So like when we watch movies or whatever in bed, we'll have. But anyway.
Yep.
So I have 4 6-inch speakers, 2 6x9s, 2 amps, a 12-inch sub, and a face radio. What do you call that?
Radio.
a radio, a head unit.
Head unit. There you go.
Face. Hey, you with the face.
So that's going in, and then it's going to run a
You got a
small
face for radio.
Yeah.
a small
All of us have a
refrigerator.
face for radio, so that's good. So how long would that last with the battery setup you have?
We'll see. I have to do some testing, but I think it should run it on a sunny day infinitely.
Okay.
So like it won't draw enough power at night to run the batteries empty,
Okay.
and then during the day it should charge more than
And living the van
we're
life,
using.
you can like chase the warmth. Like in the summertime, you
Yes.
can be in Maine.
Exactly.
And in the wintertime, you can be in Phoenix.
exactly. That's the idea. Is it's not a warm place to be
Right.
in the cold. I know some people that do it in the cold in these fiberglass trailers, and they have a wood burning stove.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not ideal. I don't want to do that.
Fiberglass and fire.
Nah,
Did you?
yeah, well,
Did you? So you guys reupholstering the inside? Or?
Yes. So I'm done with the outside now.
Yep.
I've replaced all of the exterior lighting with LED, so hopefully it'll be more visible on the highway, especially to truckers and big SUVs and that kind of stuff. I've added some lights where there weren't lights before, so it's got running lights up top, and it's got a center high mount stoplight, and I have a rear view camera that I can see from the driver's seat of the car. And so all of that is wired. I actually finished that literally the night before I got on the plane to come here for Radwood.
So are you going for like a specific style in the interior? You going for like a mid-century look or like a 70s look or
Comfortable.
more modern?
Yes, comfortable is the key.
Yeah, but like
I don't actually know. So the thing is, I told my wife I will get the outside done. You do the inside.
yeah, I figured she would.
So
be
it'll
the
be
interior.
stylish.
She'd be the
It'll
interior
be-
designer.
yes.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
a stylish lady.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
She is a classy lady.
That is-
so it'll be a
'cause, I
classy,
mean,
stylish interior.
You got to do it for the gram, right? You got to get those
Clearly,
really cool Instagram photos of like small living, right?
Yeah. This is a cool plan, though, and I intend to follow you as you traipse around the country
I hope
on
you
social media.
Started Instagram just for your trailer.
No, I did not.
You should.
So
No.
I'm
good.
What I propose is I don't have any trips planned for next year, so maybe I'll go where Brad is. That'll be the
Hell
plan.
yeah.
Like, come visit Brad. Like, where's Brad? He's in Michigan. All right, we're going to Michigan.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
And you can get a tent or something. We'll,
We have plenty of tents 'cause we camp all the time.
all right.
But I also have a station wagon life, so I can come visit
Yeah.
wherever.
Cool.
Maybe I need to buy a scamp acorn too.
Yeah.
See what happens.
Maybe don't.
There's
I don't know.
I do miss my trailer.
There's one in a
I had
neighborhood-
a camper trailer. It was really nice.
There's one in a neighborhood in Salem.
Is there for sale?
I don't know if it's for sale.
Good, because I don't need it right now. I have too many projects. You guys have told
Yeah,
me.
you do.
It was the wrong answer, Andrew.
do.
You're supposed to say
Also-
no. Nothing is for sale ever again.
Also, if you want one, don't get one here because it's got a metal frame.
Okay. Well,
So-
honestly, most things here like that don't rust really bad
Because they don't use it.
because they don't use them in the wintertime.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's fair.
So without like divulging too much how much you paid, all this stuff, what is a decent one worth?
I mean, we paid $4,000. I don't care.
Okay.
We paid $4,000, and it was a little rough, but it was functional.
Yeah.
Like everything on it worked. but not to the level I wanted it to work. So
Unacceptable level of disrepair.
exactly.
All right.
So I ripped out all of the stuff that worked, and I'm replacing it with new
Better stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
I would.
So like it had a refrigerator, but it was a refrigerator that ran on 110 that was very inefficient.
Yep.
It was probably 20 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought a brand new 12-volt refrigerator, and probably right now with all the solar, with all the everything, I'm probably into it for 7,500.
Okay, that's not bad for a travel trailer.
Yeah.
I mean,
And they do make them brand new.
Mhm.
You can buy one from the factory right
I'm
now.
not doing that.
No, I know. But I'm saying you, like the royal you.
Right.
Um,
I am royal. Thank you.
Yes.
obviously,
what was that?
with all the overland stuff, I mean, all this new stuff you can get
It's so
that runs
much
on
stuff.
12 volt
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
It's
so
much
hot
stuff
right
out
now.
there. Yeah.
Well,
if
and
you really
the-
wanted to,
so
you
hot
could
right
you
now.
could throw a rooftop tent on your wagon if you needed
Yes.
more space.
Sure.
yeah. Turn a travel trailer into just a cargo trailer
Yeah.
at that point.
No,
Yeah.
it's like your living room, and then your bedroom is above your car,
Yeah, actually, that's
and
not
then
bad
your
either.
car carries the cargo.
So the bed is about the same size as a twin, or maybe a full.
Mhm.
So it's big enough for two people. Like
Ish.
we've lived on smaller beds.
Oof.
Yeah, I mean when we moved to
I need a
Ohio,
bigger scamp.
when they make a 16,
Yeah, I need that.
And
I need a queen.
they make
Yeah, Queen.
they make a 19.
Yes,
exactly.
queen.
Yes, queen. Exactly.
They make a 19-foot, but it's a fifth wheel. So you have to have a
that won't fit in my Volkswagen.
No, it won't.
19 foot's a fifth wheel. That's a small
I
fifth
know,
wheel trailer.
right?
Yeah.
I think the same thing every time I see one, but anyhow, so it's got like a full-size bed. It's got a closet. It has a bench at the front that you can sit on. That's got like storage bench, and then it's got a sink and a refrigerator and a counter, and then some overhead storage above the sink for food and utensils and that kind of thing. So it's not big, but it is. We stayed in it one night before I stripped it down, and it was doable.
Okay.
It was doable.
You
I,
get used to it. It's
I'm-
better than a tent.
Yeah.
Way better than
Yeah,
a tent.
yeah,
It's more room in a tent, though.
Depends on the tent.
Tents are a nightmare.
Well, in my tent that I camp in with my lovely lady, we have a queen size air mattress.
Okay.
and
so-
room for nothing else.
Exactly.
No, there's a whole nother like living room area where we could put like a couch and a television if we wanted to.
What?
Okay.
I don't believe you.
It's a big tent.
You have a 25 by 25 tent?
No, but it's like 10 by 15.
Hmm.
It's a good sized tent.
Well, anyhow, I envision like going to a lot of national parks and trying to have a more both minimalist and more healthy lifestyle because I'm a little overweight. I don't feel so hot. I'm in my 30s now. I need to take better care of myself. And yeah, so not to get too hippy dippy, but that whole hashtag practicing mindfulness thing is my goal. So I want to see more of the world. I'm too young to have almost died.
I agree with that
So,
because you're significantly younger than me. So yes.
so I need to get out and see the world and experience
At least the United
life
States.
a little more. Yeah. I do. I mean, we'll be still making a decent amount of money, and without a mortgage, we'll probably have some more for international travel, I think. So
It's hard to bring a Buick overseas though.
luckily we have parents with like 10 to 15 acre estates.
That's what it takes to do van life.
Yeah, right. They live in Michigan where 10 to 15 acres costs like $12.
Right.
So we can easily pull into one of their houses, leave the car for a little while, go fly somewhere.
And again, once I have space, you're welcome to stay there too.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you. So that's basically my life now. And then I have the Boxster that I'm doing at EV kind of
Yeah, I
thing
think we'll get into
too.
that one more once we have some more progress on that.
Yeah.
But
We briefly covered that last episode.
yeah, we briefly covered it last time. we were
That'll
on.
be once I have garage space again. I think
Right.
that's going to be the so
Can we put a one-car garage in the back of your 13-foot camp?
yeah.
All right.
So my whole point with
A toy
getting,
hauler?
yes. My whole point with getting the 912 to a point where it's done is, like you said, focus on one thing at a time.
Right.
So once the 912 is done, then I don't have to work on that anymore. I can just drive it and have fun with it. and then the Boxster will become the priority. So I've already got the electric motor for it. I've already got the batteries. I've already got, the controller and all of that stuff. It just needs to migrate into the car.
And once you get a car to that point, as long as you continue to maintain it, it's fine. It doesn't spiral out of control.
Right.
Which is so like my Galant, I bought as a roller, put it all together, drove it for a bunch of years, then it needed a bunch of maintenance. Just not like a bunch of maintenance, but just wear and tear maintenance.
Yeah.
So I would kept doing that, and now it's just at the point again where I can just drive it and enjoy it. I don't need to rebuild the whole car. And it's not stuck in my garage and I let the registration lapse and I'm never getting to it.
Yeah.
No, it runs and drives and
that's a lot of the expense with the 912 is that in going through all of this stuff, they're like, hey, your CV axles are bad.
Yeah.
And hey, you need a new clutch. And hey, and it's like, as
while
long as it's all apart, I may as well do it.
While you're in there.
A lot of that is why my Galant hasn't been put back together yet because I went through the past 3 years, a lot of life changes, a lot of big things.
Yeah.
And every time we talked about doing the Galant, it was, okay, now I need this, now I need this, now I need that, now I need this, now I need that, now I need time, now I need this, now I need time, now I need money, now I need time. And I just never, it was easy to say, never mind. So
I think, what Eclipse do you have? You just have the
red Eclipse.
The red one. That's the only one you're down to?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I think if you have that, and you have the VR4, and you have the Camaro, you're set.
I need a Colt.
The blue Colt.
Oh, yeah.
The blue Colt's cool.
Yeah, you got to have.
And a Sapporo is perfectly fine.
It's perfectly fine, but, I mean, I think somebody else could care for it. You've gotten a lot out of it. I'm not suggesting you sell it. I'm just saying.
You just did.
No.
Yeah. Anyway.
If you're in love with it, then keep it.
So, not to go too far off topic, we're kind of running along here, but
it is auto off topic.
I will be in the market for another home pretty soon. And the plan is to, if it doesn't have a 4-car garage, find a property where I can put a 4-car garage.
Sure.
That has at least high enough ceilings to put 2 lifts in.
To put a lift in.
2 lifts in.
2 lifts.
Like 1 2-post, 1 4-post, 1 for parking, 1 for working.
Okay.
So I can keep 6 cars inside.
Okay.
And if I keep 6 cars inside,
Good goal.
That's like once I have 6 cars inside and a working lift, I get home from work at 5 o'clock and I just work on something for an hour.
Yeah.
Or 2 hours.
Sure.
Once you have a space to do it, it's a lot easier.
It's a lot easier because the main problem I had here is my eyes are bigger than my stomach. You know what I mean? Like, I see all these cool things, and I'm like, it's a simple project. It's a simple project. It's a simple project. But a simple project is not a simple project when you don't have a place to work.
When you don't have time or a place. Yeah.
It's more the place is the thing.
Yeah,
because the problem I have, and, I love Andrew's dad. He's one of the greatest influences in my entire life. He's such a good guy, and he's almost like a second dad to me. But the problem is to work on cars in his garage. I need to work on cars in his garage.
Yeah.
So I bring the car in. It's got to get to a point and get out.
Yeah,
it's not my garage.
Sure.
I can't wrench on something and leave it there.
Sure.
And just get back to it when I get back to it.
Right.
So the larger projects stall out because I don't want. And it's not that he says, no, you can't do this.
Sure.
It's more in my brain, I don't want to inconvenience other people.
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
So that's where my whole problem comes from. So once I have a space.
That's a good mental thing to have, though.
No, it is.
You don't want to be the
But sometimes
the
it hurts. But sometimes it hurts me more than it helps because I won't even ask somebody for help. Sometimes.
Yeah.
And I was working on the Eclipse by myself until 10:30 at night, the night before Radwood, because the same thing. I was like, I'm not going to call somebody and be like, hey, come help me with this because I don't need the help.
Sure.
It would have helped, but I don't need the help. So I was going to be like, Andrew, you need to come help me with this.
Yeah.
Because he didn't need to come help me. Would it have gone faster if he was there? Sure, but I know this man also values his free time.
Yeah.
Like, he has a wife, he has a house, he has his own things. Like,
I had the same thing with the trailer. Like, I did literally a week of sanding on that thing. And, it probably would have helped if I had had somebody with me.
Yep.
But, yeah, you're right.
And I'm trying to learn to do things more by myself because I consider myself probably above average, but not a great mechanic.
Same.
And Andrew is an amazing mechanic. Like, he's really good. He's really fast. He's really efficient. No, you're really good. Honestly, if you wanted to be a flat rate tech, you could be a flat rate tech. You don't want to be a flat rate tech, which I also appreciate. But for my entire life, I've always had Andrew by my side. And a lot of times I'll sit in the garage looking at something until Andrew comes over and he's like, dude, what the hell are you doing? Why isn't this done yet? And I'll be like, I don't know how to start.
Yeah.
I don't know how to get to begin this project.
That's just a motivation thing.
Oh, 100% it is.
Yeah.
But it started before Radwood Philly. Now, one of the reasons I love Radwood, even to stay way off topic, is because it's given me motivation to finish things.
Sure.
Like for Radwood Philly, I put together this Sapporo that had been broken down for 2 years.
Yeah.
So he helped me with the transmission.
Uh-huh.
But then it was the night
And
before.
my dad did.
Yeah. Again, your dad is equally as instrumental, if not more so than you. But the night before, I had these brakes to do. No, it was before the road trip.
Mm-hmm.
Before the cross-country road trip, I needed the brakes. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I can't do this. I'm not going to do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. It's a weird brake setup. I don't know how to do it. I'm not even going to try. And I put it aside and I walked away. And then I was like, what am I doing? So the next night, I was like, I have to do this. I have to get it done.
This sounds like the conversation we were having before the podcast, where you didn't want to drive home.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. I'm still on the fence.
You shouldn't be on the fence. You should do it.
Well, it's less than $300.
And then, like, working on a car, there's, like, some zen to it, too.
when it's done.
Well, sometimes I don't have anybody come over and help me because I can just work faster personally by myself. I can work faster.
Most of us can on a lot of things, but it's that motivation factor.
Yeah.
Yep.
Occasionally, I'm like, I want you to just come over and just hang out so I can have a person next to me.
Drink a beer and yell at me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes I'll just work quicker. Like on my WRX, I can just work faster without someone because I just put my headphones on and just do whatever I need
think
to do.
back to things like when I blew an alternator on the side of the road in North Carolina. And, like, I know how to change an alternator. It's not difficult.
Sure.
But Andrew was there with me, and
For support.
he dug in and did it.
Yeah.
And I'm, like, trying to help, but he's just like, no, we're getting this done. We're getting out of here. We've lost 12 hours already. Like,
I
his
had
alternator is
breakfast,
done.
so I was really angry.
Yeah, he was motivated to eat. So then I thought back to that same motivation when I was also in the Southeast. I was in Georgia, and the alternator let go of my truck. I was by myself, and I had to change the alternator by myself. And I was like, WWAD, what would Andrew do? So I literally dug into it and got it done, and I had it done in like an hour or less on the side of the road in the highway in friggin' Georgia. But I'm just trying to get better at doing things myself so that now that I've moved away from my
Support system.
of Andrew helping me wrench on things, I have to do it by myself.
You have Ron to help you. At least.
I have Ron to help me, but Ron lives an hour away from me. It's not like Ron lives across the street, like happened here.
Isn't it great that you know Ron because he was at a Radwood?
Dude, Radwood has been such a positive influence in my
right?
life.
Exactly.
To be honest with you, like, I'm not even kidding. Like, so this is going to get way sappy and way terrible, but I don't want to say Radwood saved my life. But Radwood was a huge positive influence on my life because I was at a very dark place in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I met my current girlfriend at Andrew's wedding because he's related to his wife.
Sure.
But we lived.
I'm not related to my wife. You said he's
right. Sorry.
Your girlfriend is.
Yes, my girlfriend is related to your wife.
They're cousins.
Yes. Andrew's not related to his wife. No. Just to be clear.
No.
So I met her there, but we lived 3,000 miles apart. The first time we hung out again after the wedding was at Radwood 2.
Yeah.
Because I was going to L.A.
Which I made you go with us. You didn't want to go.
And I had no money because of various things that happened.
Yeah, I made you go, and then I was like, hey, tell Naomi we're going to L.A.
So Naomi got in a car, and she drove from Phoenix to L.A. And that was
remember
the
that.
first time we hung out.
I vaguely remember that.
Right, because you didn't even know us then. Hardly.
Yeah,
like, we've gotten a lot closer since then,
Yes.
just us.
You picked us up in the $1 Million Lexus.
Yes, you did, which is also awesome.
Yeah.
Um,
And to think all this started because of Camden Tubbs.
right, which is now like a distant like blink in the past. And we still love Cam, but you guys don't have a podcast anymore.
Sure.
So the first time I saw her again since ever meeting her at the wedding, and we talk on the phone all the time though, was at Radwood 2.
Yeah.
And then I realized how simple it is to go to the other side of the country and hang out for a couple of days.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you got to save some cash and you got to do it, but at the same time, you just got to do it. I think Andrew paid for my plane ticket, actually, for that event.
Maybe.
If I remember
don't
correctly.
remember.
Then I paid him back. Like, he funded me the money because I had no money because I was in between life. Like,
Yeah.
I was, like, in between life.
I remember, like, you were trying to get Vine to work and...
That was after.
Oh, really?
So this is post...
Okay.
We're not going to get that deep.
All right,
That's a
all
whole
right,
conversation
all
for,
right.
like, dinner later.
Okay.
That was, yeah. This is well after that.
Okay.
So I'd already gone back to the workforce because of other events that happened in my life.
Okay.
But I just started working again. So then it became, hey, I flew across the country. I met up with Naomi. And then it's like, let's go to another Radwood. Why not? So we went to another Radwood somewhere else, and I went to another Radwood somewhere else, and then we're like, we're going to Radwoods. Let's go to this place.
Yeah.
So we go to this place. So Radwood gave me a goal, something to do, and come and fix my cars and put my cars back together. And I don't want to be sappy about it, but
Hey.
like that's what
I mean,
it gave me a reason to do something.
it's
I was at a really low point, and I needed a reason to do something, and Radwood became that reason. And that's why, for our listeners who don't like Radwood, I don't care. Because I'm like, you know what? Radwood was awesome for me when I needed it.
Yeah.
And I'm here for it now, and I love everybody involved with it, and it's a good time, and
well,
we've made so many friends through Radwood and through the podcast and through everything that, like,
that's
I'm not going to cry on the air here, but I'm pretty happy about everything that's
why I
happened in
love
my
it.
life in the past 2 years.
That's
the
why I love it,
people,
'cause it's
more than anything.
It's such a positive influence to people, and like, I mean, we do it because it's a business now, but
But it became a business out of the love for it.
exactly. The first one, the only reason it happened was because we were like, let's throw
Let's
a
do
party
this.
and have fun.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why we keep doing it, because it's a party and it's fun.
So the two things in my life that have kept me going during like the darkest points of my life were this podcast, because there were times where Andrew was like, dude, you're having a shitty day, like don't even bother coming and recording, it'll be fine. And I was like, no, I need this, man. Like, let's goddamn record tonight.
I gotta get my fix.
Yeah, I need to get out and do this. I
Yeah.
need to like keep my brain going, and then going to Radwood shows. And those are the two things that really kept me going. And like, you know, big props to Andrew and Stephanie, and obviously my parents and Tony, his father, and then
It's
on a lesser note, you guys for doing this.
it's
and
a
giving
good
something
thing.
to do.
It's
Yeah.
a good thing you have these people, because like
And I moved
have
3,000 miles away from him because
I
he
know,
saved my
right?
life.
I told him to move away.
Yeah, he was like, dude, you've been around
like, I've had
way
enough.
too much.
I've had enough. You got to get out of here. But I mean,
He
the
just wanted
same
a free
thing.
vacation spot. That's all he wanted.
Same kind of same thing on a way lesser note. But like, I came here with no plan for a Sunday night,
Yeah.
and I was like, I don't have a place to stay. Mind if I stay with you? And he's like, I don't care.
I know right now,
Cool.
if I do wind up driving across country, I know this is the plan, I could start driving and drive to Ohio and call Cam.
Yeah.
And be like, hey, dude, I'm in town. Can I crash in your house? And he'd say yes.
Yeah.
And the next night I could drive to Reno, and I could be like, hey, Brad. I'm just saying.
That's a long drive.
I'm just saying.
But yes, you absolutely could stay in our house.
I stay at your
anytime.
house. And there's people I met in Austin at Radwood where I could
Mm-hmm.
call up and be like, hey, dude, I'm in town. Can I
Yeah.
put my car in your garage and crash at your house? And he'd be like, dude, come on down. Let's go have dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all because of this stupid car thing that everybody gave me crap for so long, and everybody gives you crap for now.
Same thing. Like, people I don't even know. I wrote that article for Jalopnik. It went live on Friday. I've had literally 40 people
Yep.
either text or email or comment on the article. If you're in town, give me a call.
Right.
Like,
Your year is going to be killer.
yeah.
And your wife's going to think you're a celebrity.
Like, if you need a hot shower and a hot meal,
Yeah.
stop in.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right.
That's one thing we've talked about since, because obviously I've only known Naomi since I've started doing all this stuff. Like, it's been like a little over 2 years now.
Yeah.
And it's like, she's like, you know, everybody everywhere. And I'm like, it's all through cars and the internet. It's
Yep.
stupidity, but it's awesome.
Yep.
So anyway,
mean-
that's our little feel good moment at the end of the podcast here, I
Yeah.
think. But maybe I'm just punch drunk because I'm hungry.
What else did you have? Do you have any?
That's it.
All right.
Let's wrap it up because Steph's Ugly Kitchen has made us dinner, so
Yes.
we're gonna go eat it. Yeah. So as
Also,
al-
we're out of beer. So
yeah. So which was real quick. That was Bentwater Boris. That,
Oh yeah,
I think
local
we've had it
brewery.
before.
Yeah, local brewery, Brentwater Brewing out of Lynn,
It's peanut butter stout,
Massachusetts.
which
Yeah.
is my favorite thing in the entire world, and they only do it like most breweries only do it during like Halloween, October.
What
This-
percentage is this? Because I'm feeling kind of like
It's pretty high.
It's pretty high.
5.8.
Well,
not that
actually,
high,
that's not bad.
yeah.
This one's
Well, it's
really
like twice a Bud Light.
This one's really
Yeah.
good, and then another local brewery called Night Shift has PB Phone Home, and it's got like a
That's the better one.
knockoff like ET thing on it. That one is
Very
really
Radwood.
good. Yeah.
Also harder to find.
yeah,
So Bentwater Boris is really good and easier to find around here.
Down the street
around
from my
October.
house.
Yeah, and PB Phone Home is also really good.
yeah. So before I give our podcast up, Brad Lee, where can they find you? Is
Everywhere. I'm on Instagram at hi. What is it?
plug-in hybrid.
Plug-in
Brad.
hybrid.
Hi, Brad.
Yes.
Hi, Brad.
I changed it like a month ago, and I keep forgetting what it is. But yeah, plug-in hi Brad. On Twitter, I'm at BC Brownell. On Facebook, go to Radwood, and we have a page and a
I think you're
group.
Radwood Official, though. Or is that on Instagram?
Radwood Official on Instagram.
Okay.
And then
I think that's it.
Jalopnik.com.
Yep.
Flat6s.com. If you own a 912,
Right.
I run the 912 Registry Magazine.
Are you starting a
and-
sister site called flat4s.com?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That's a
No, we-
Subaru website.
We cover all the, even though it's just Flat 6s is the URL, we cover all Porsche stuff. So we have a 944 project car, we have a Boxster project car, we have a 912E project car. Read about it there.
Excellent.
So, and then other than that, go to Radwoods. LA is probably going to be December 7th.
And Andrew will be there, I think.
Yes.
Oh, cool.
I will not be there.
We have friends who are getting married in Malibu on December 7th
Oh, cool.
at night, so I will be there during the day.
Oh, during the day. Oh, sick.
Yeah.
That's
so-
cool. I know
so-
you said that there was going to be a wedding and you didn't know if you can make it, but that's awesome that
Yep.
it's at night.
Yeah,
Unfortunately,
cool.
I will not be there because I have other
That's
important
okay.
family things happening.
That is okay. And I'm glad that you called her family.
It's not okay. I want to go Radwood.
It's all right.
Actually, I shouldn't say that because she's going to listen and think I'm serious. So it's definitely okay that I'm missing it.
You know what? The week before, my wife and I are vacationing in Palm Springs. You guys should come visit.
Yeah, it's only like a 4.5-hour drive.
Yeah. Come for the weekend or whatever.
Crash your weekend.
Yeah.
I like it.
I mean, we'll be there for 10 days, so like 2 days of that is fine.
All right. Flat4s.com is not a website, by the way. We should buy that right now.
Okay.
All right. You can follow us, Auto Off Topic, on Instagram, Auto Off Topic Podcast on Facebook. Follow me on Instagram, Raced in Anger. And then, Brad, where do they find you?
TSIS 350.
Yeah,
which is also TSISS 350.
Yeah.
I should change that, but I have this really like hard time changing things.
Yeah,
Well,
apparently
you
do.
don't even have a TSI.
Yes, I do.
Oh.
The purple car.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't have
And
a
then-
registered TSI.
But you have a Cissis? Is it a
that,
Camaro?
that sounds like a medical condition.
a Camaro Cissis? Because we're...
Because an SS.
No, it's a Camaro.
Yeah, don't do two S's. It sounds like I'm like a German army. Like,
Well, yeah, I think is better than SS.
yeah.
Yeah.
Super Sport 350.
All
I'm
right.
sure that name is taken, and I can't take that.
Yeah,
'cause-
that's a 350 is best engine ever had.
Listen,
Tree Fitty.
350. What is that? I bought 350.
All right.
You could do SS Tree Fitty.
Tree-
I just came up with your new Instagram
Pretty
name.
good.
All right. Well, on that note, keep cars analog and aim for the roses.